Good evening. What would you do if at the end of this event we would have some big guys at the door that would take away your wallets, your mobile phones, your passports, that would tell you that they erased all the connections you had with family and friends, and that you would have to start over from scratch? What would you do? Would you be able to survive? It happens to be that I have a few friends that have proven in practice that they are quite good in surviving that context of uncertainty and crisis. People that handle this and survive in this context. And tonight I want to tell you their story. I got to know them in '97 when I was about to graduate as an industrial designer. I already finished 4 years of design school, and in those 4 years I did all kinds of projects with companies. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. But in each project I missed something, and that was purpose. In every project I asked myself, like, why the hell am I doing this? So the 5th year of the career is a year where you have to do a thesis project. You have to design a product to graduate, a full year on that project. And I decided not to compromise on purpose, and started looking for a product, a project that I could graduate with purpose. By coincidence, in those days, my mom asked me to join her to an evening of some people that work for a project in Cartagena de las Indias in Colombia. People that had a project with street kids. And she invited me to join her to that evening. And that evening, I listened to stories about gamines, street kids in Cartagena. I saw the pictures of these kids. And I got to know that in our world, we have over 100 million kids that have to live on the streets. Kids without education, kids without protection. And so I decided at that point, you know, from the belly, intuition, I decided like, hey, I'm gonna design a product for those guys. I found my thesis topic. I found my project with purpose. And I decided to design something for street kids. Now, a good designer, when he designs a new product for a consumer, he tries to get into the shoes of that consumer. He tries to understand, to feel, to think like that consumer, to be able to design the right product. So I had to go to Colombia. I had to connect with these kids. I had to get into their shoes. And so I did. And I remember being on the plane towards Colombia, I had that concept of street kids. And that concept that was formed by the stuff I read, by the documentaries I saw, by the information I got from fundraisings from NGOs. And that was a story of poverty, misery, violence, gang culture. It was a story of problems, actually. When I got to Cartagena and I got on the streets, actually I was confronted with that problem, with those problems. They exist. They are present. But I never forget that from the very first day, I was amazed about the strength of these kids as well, to survive on those streets. Because let's be honest, if I would put all of you on a plane right now, we fly to Cartagena and you compete with my friends to survive the longest on the streets of Cartagena, I know who's gonna win, and it's not you guys. So they're not only needy kids, they're survivors as well. So I decided, hey, if I do a product for them, I'm not gonna focus on their problems, I'm not gonna focus on the misery, I'm gonna focus on their strength. I knew that we had to reach out to them. We had to go to the streets. We had to accept the streets as not only a negative environment and connect with the strength of the streets. So we created a mobile school. And a mobile school is a little trailer on wheels. It's a blackboard, a chalkboard on wheels, 1.5 meters of length. We pull it into the streets until we find the kids. And once we find them, we open it up as a big telescope and you get a blackboard of 6 meters of length. And on that blackboard, you can put educational games. We call the blackboard our hardware, and the games our software. We developed over 300 games that you can change every day on that blackboard to develop talents of those street kids, to empower them, to make them stronger, and to make them the crucial actor to change their own lives. And we do that in outreach strategies. Actually, on educational topics, we have like basic education, we use literacy, we even have a street business toolkit on entrepreneurship. So that shoeshine boy that approaches us is not a needy kid, he's an entrepreneur. And we will work with him to make him a better, a more successful shoeshine boy, because that's the way that he can get sustainable in progress. Now, actually, thesis project got out of hands. Right now, we are present in 22 countries with mobile schools. It's a franchising model. independent organizations apply for our materials and methodology. We train them, and then they work independently. Last year, through that model, we reached out to 50,000 contacts with kids. We are quite proud, humbly proud, of the results that we can show in our work with street kids. But on the other hand, I told you guys already, we have like more than 100 million kids on the streets in the world. And then you can't be happy with 50,000 contacts. So we know that we have to scale up. We have to have more impact. But if you need more impact, you need money. You need budgets to invest, to innovate, to create. And actually, we had been working with Philanthropy, and I started to understand that Philanthropy wouldn't get us where we have to be. It wouldn't get us to the point of really making a difference. So we decided to start reflecting and researching to find new models next to Philanthropy to do this job. In those days, when I was in full reflection, I went to Nairobi to start up a mobile school. Arrived in Nairobi, somebody of an NGO picked me up, brought me to Dandora. Dandora is the dump of Nairobi. All the waste of Nairobi is dumped in one neighborhood. Hundreds of kids live as scavengers, recycling materials, metal, plastic, and so on. The guy from the NGO showed me around, gave me a guided tour. He showed me the lack of water, hygiene, the violence, the negativity. After an hour on the dump, I felt so small, with such a problem in front of me, and I completely didn't feel any motivation. There was no empowerment to tackle that problem. Luckily, I couldn't run away, and a week later, I'm back on that dump. And I meet a guy from 15, 16 years old that survived on that dump. And he started giving me his guided tour. And suddenly, he picked up a plastic water bottle. And he told me, hey, Arnoud, if you recycle plastic bottles, you should go for this brand. Feel the bottle, it's thick plastic, it's thick packaging. So if you have a bag of these, you have more weight, more profits. But these bottles, only the expats, the rich people drink them. It's expensive. And they all live in the compounds. And the compounds, they are on that side of the dump. So the trucks that bring in their waste come from that side. So if you do plastic, you have to be there. He picks up a newspaper and tells me, hey, you can sell the newspapers to all those guys that buy paper products. They buy carton boards, newspapers, whatever. But in that neighborhood, there are people that make furniture out of waste, and they use wrapped up newspaper to stuff their furniture. And they pay for each newspaper. And those guys for each kilo. Over there, you have more profits. I walked around on the dump with a kid from the street, and he only showed me opportunities. I had 2 guided tours in the same environment, but they were completely different. And at the beginning, I was thinking, like, who's right, who's wrong? But that's a stupid question. The only thing that I could learn over there was to understand that if the kid would take the attitude of the guy from the streets for one day, he wouldn't be able to survive. And I decided to do what the kids do. I decided, hey, I'm not going to sit and wait. I'm not going to focus on the problems. If I want to tackle the problem of street children, I need to take initiative and responsibility myself, as they do. So actually, we started thinking to build a model to self-sustain mobile school. What we did, we went back to the streets. On the streets, you can find all kinds of kids. You have kids that won't survive. You have kids that do so-so. But on the streets as well, you have these outperformers. These guys that do amazing stuff in non-favorable context. I met a guy that learned 12 languages by handing out commercial leaflets of pizzerias to tourists in Antigua, Guatemala. The most natural-born leader I've met in my life was a street girl in Nicaragua. With those guys, we did some research, and we checked why are they the outperformers on the streets? Why are they the ones on top? And we found a model. We found a model with 4 skills, and we call them the street skills. The first thing is they are all positive focused. They all go for the opportunity. Second one, they are agile and resilient. Bad luck, they learn out of it and bounce up. The third one, they're proactive and creative. And the fourth one, they know to play the game in between cooperation and competing. And those 4 skills were key to survive the context of uncertainty, constant change on the streets. So what I did was, I took these skills, went back home to Belgium, got a few professors in from university, got a few business consultants in that lacked purpose as well in the classical business, and gathered them to build with this concept, street skills model, a consulting model to make companies more streetwise, to help companies to train their people to be able to outperform the competitors in a context of uncertainty. So we started up StreetwiZe. And StreetwiZe is that company. We sell keynote speeches. We sell street skill training, leadership programs, high potential programs to over 100 clients right now. And by doing so, we earn money. And 100% of the profits we reinvested back into Mobile School. As you can see on top, you see the logotype of Mobile School. Mobile School reaches out to street kids to have impact with the kids. And we can measure it. We can prove that we have that impact. The kids inspire us to create the products of StreetwiZe. They gave us the street skills model. They gave us the films, the stories, the challenges. And with these things, these assets, we build the products to reach out to our clients. We sell to the clients grow as well, and they pay the bill. And in the end, last year, we covered 70% of the full cost of the whole organization by money that we earned ourselves. Not philanthropy, only 30% was philanthropy. Next step, 2019, we want to double the impact on street kids, and we want to be 100% fully self-sustainable. The story of StreetwiZe is a really simple one. The thing that we did was, we stopped looking at the threats and the problems, we shifted the mindset, and we started looking for the opportunities and the possibilities. So if you walk out tonight, and you meet a homeless guy on the streets, be careful. Don't judge too fast, because he could be your next business partner. Thank you so much.